India's economy faces a balance of payments stress test. Wow, that stark warning from the chief economic advisor, it literally hits the nail on the head for the moment we're living in right now. It's a massive red flag, guys. We aren't just looking at isolated, localized hiccups anymore. The entire world is currently undergoing a massive, interconnected global stress test. And to truly understand what is happening in our economy, our politics, and honestly, even our daily lives, we have to zoom out and look at the big picture.
Welcome to The Explainer. I am so glad you're here with us today because, well, we've got a seriously fascinating task ahead of us. We're taking a huge, tangled web of over 100 complex global headlines from May 2026. I mean, everything from oil shocks to health emergencies to massive AI summits, and we're boiling them down into one clear, connected narrative. My goal today? To make sense of all this chaos and show you exactly how the macro-level global news is directly impacting your everyday micro-level life. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the global stress test itself. Then we'll cover tech and diplomatic shields, and finally, the extreme weather reality. So Act 1, the global stress test and the converging crises of May 2026.
To really grasp this stress test, we've got to look at how these simultaneous crises are just stacking up right now. First up, 2.5%. Just let that number sink in for a second. The United Nations just downgraded the global economic growth forecast for 2026 to a really sluggish 2.5%. And this single data point, it is sending absolute ripples through the financial world, sparking some real fears of a mild recession. When global GDP growth gets slashed to this level, international business confidence takes a major hit, and investors start watching their portfolios like a hawk.
And then we follow that up immediately with a second punch, 3.9%. Right at the exact same time that growth is slowing down, global inflation is expected to rise to 3.9%. Honestly, it's a brutal combination. This rising inflation is putting immense pressure on everybody globally, but it's specifically squeezing developing nations and oil-importing economies. Suddenly, they're facing way higher costs for just the everyday basic necessities. Now, the crucial thing here is understanding exactly why these prices are surging in the first place. You've got the Strait of Hormuz, which is this absolutely critical maritime choke point, and rising Middle East tensions are currently choking off this vital route. This isn't just some distant geopolitical conflict, right? It directly hits world energy markets. Shipping insurance costs are shooting up globally, businesses are bracing for massive logistics costs, and fuel prices are just surging. It's actually so severe that India is actively scrambling to prepare alternative crude oil transport routes right now, just to bypass the risk entirely. As if that wasn't enough, we have to add the final macro stressor to the pile. The World Health Organization has just declared Ebola a global health emergency. This throws a massive layer of uncertainty over international travel and global supply chains. Public health agencies are on high alert everywhere. Countries like India have instantly ramped up airport surveillance and started reviewing all their outbreak preparedness protocols. World health agencies are basically scrambling to get their emergency coordination in check. Now, what's really fascinating here is this incredibly stark contrast. On one side, we have the grim macroeconomic reality we just talked about, supply chain uncertainty, oil volatility, and health emergencies. But on the flip side, we are seeing intense pushback, surging AI investments, and a massive, massive focus on green tech. This perfectly illustrates a major pivot. Nations aren't just sitting back and taking it. They're leaning heavily into strategic, high-tech optimism to build up resilience against all this chaos. Which brings us to Act 2, Tech and Diplomatic Shields, and how we're building resilience. So let's break down how countries are actually fighting back here, using India as a prime example. The recent Indian-Nordic summit proves that complex diplomacy is actually a highly deliberate strategy for building resilience. Think of it in steps. Step 1 focuses on green tech partnerships, basically prioritizing renewable energy plans to escape all that crazy oil volatility. Step 2 is 6G cooperation, locking down the technological infrastructure of tomorrow. And Step 3 expands out into the Arctic and the blue economy in the Indo-Pacific, securing alternative avenues for research and trade. And hey, this isn't just empty talk. It's about making it practically easier for STEM researchers to move across Europe and growing real defense collaborations with Nordic firms. Diplomacy is also acting as a vital shield for our most fundamental human needs. Just consider this. During his recent visit to Rome, PM Modi received the FAO Agricola Medal, which recognizes global food security efforts. You might be wondering, why does this matter so much right now? Well, with global fertilizer prices staying at massive, concerning highs worldwide, nations are absolutely prioritizing food security, climate, and sustainability diplomacy. They're using these diplomatic milestones as crucial shields against sudden economic shocks. And just look at where the money is flowing right now. We're seeing this intense, laser focus on AI investments, 6G research, and green tech startups. Even with all the supply chain fears and that gloomy 2.5% growth downgrade we saw earlier, major economies are literally doubling down on these exact sectors. Technology cooperation has become the main economic driver. Just think about the India AI Impact Summit hosted at Bharat Mandapam. It is grabbing global attention and proving for sure that the digital and innovation push is the go-to strategy for staying resilient when global slowdown fears start looming.
All right, moving on to our final act, Act 3, the extreme weather reality and its micro-impact.
Now, we're zooming all the way in from those high-level diplomatic tech summits down to the visceral, immediate reality everyday citizens are facing right now. 45 degrees Celsius and above. That is the brutal, undeniable meteorological fact of May 2026. A severe, punishing heat wave is currently battering millions of people across North India. States like Delhi, UP, and Rajasthan are stuck under strict IMD heat alerts. Public health departments are actively monitoring spikes in heat stroke cases, water conservation campaigns are expanding everywhere, and citizens are being widely advised to just stay indoors and avoid the afternoon sun entirely.
And you know, this brilliantly illustrates how extreme weather isn't just a number on a thermometer. It creates these massive, cascading microeconomic ripple effects. Rising temperatures are damaging crops in key regions, which directly threatens local economies. Power demand is just surging off the charts as everyone tries to stay cool, putting a massive strain on the infrastructure. The tourism sectors in North India are taking a huge hit, and everyday activities, right down to summer sports camps for the youth, are being delayed or just completely disrupted.
Let's actually anchor all of this massive global disruption down to a highly specific, super-personal level. Because of this perfect storm of health alerts, extreme weather, and global travel uncertainty, India's women's junior handball team is currently just sitting in limbo, waiting for clearance for their world championship in China. Indian athletes are completely uncertain about whether they'll even get approval to participate, and sports authorities are having to review all their final tournament decisions. So this global chaos, it literally trickles all the way down to youth sports funding and the dreams of everyday local athletes.
Which really leaves us with this final, incredibly vital thought to chew on. As we're out there building 6G networks and these massive AI-driven economies, can our infrastructure actually withstand the immediate, grounded threats of global health emergencies and extreme climate realities? We're reaching for the future with these incredible diplomatic and technological shields, but we are being tested right now, today, by soaring inflation, volatile shipping lanes, and 45-degree heat waves. It is the ultimate balance of payments stress test for humanity. So what does this all mean for us going forward? Well, thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep asking those big questions, keep looking closely at the data, and I will see you in the next explainer.